this evening. We started running these workshops a few months ago because we do think that kind of putting a CV together, if you haven't done so for a long while, can be very challenging, and especially when you potentially have quite a lot of new or different skills and how you're going to describe them. So hopefully today we'll be able to go through a few things that are going to help you pull that together and get that format a little bit more refined. You here for the workshop? Yeah, please do come in. It's only just started, it's no problem. Welcome. So firstly, I thought it would be great if we just introduced ourselves. I'm not sure how much you know of the Pathways team. We're the team who's putting this on today, but we're the kind of career support and development team for participants and for ambassadors. My name is Rachel Taylor. I'm one of the senior officers in the team, and my role is all around that recruitment support. So CV support, application, cover letter, interview, signposting people to CPD opportunities when you're looking for that next step and for more development. And I've been doing career support and this type of work for about 7 years or so. And this is my colleague, Natasha.
Hello, everybody. I'm Natasha. I've worked in the charity sector for about 13 years. Worked at Teach First for about 8, and I set up and lead on delivering the International Career Coaching Service. That's really my main responsibility, is supporting you guys to figure out and determine the types of roles you want to go into next.
So the overview of the session today. So first of all, we're just going to run through the 2 different main formats for CVs and choosing the right format for you. How to write a personal statement, and hopefully doing some exercises to start putting that together and showing some examples for you. Revisioning your experiences, so thinking when you're applying for a role that might be quite different than what you're doing, how you can identify those transferable skills and how can you then sell yourself with those. And then we just got a few kind of top tips around common mistakes people make, and also the kind of top tips of what to include as well. So you might be aware that there's 2 main types of CV and how to display your experience. So there is chronological or skills-based. Chronological is where it focuses on your experience. It is often done on a reverse order, so it would be your most recent role first, and then moving back from there. Sorry, ignore that. We're doing a webinar at the moment, so just a bit of a trial on our side. That's the most common format. It probably would be the one that you would look to take. There is a skills-based format CV, and that's where people really focus on their skills, describe them, and then maybe the second page just runs through their experience in a summary. That's often for people that might be doing a career change and really want to highlight how they still fit into that role and how they can transfer. It also can be for people that are looking to return to teaching or return to a role, and people that might have gaps. So, for example, if you spent a number of years traveling or something like that away from the classroom, it can be a really good way to identify how you've still got those skill sets and experience that's relevant to that vacancy. So personal statements. How many people on their CVs before have included a personal statement, or you might know it as a profile as well? That's okay, no problem. It's normally a paragraph or so that's right at the top of your CV, often under your contact details. It's a really, really key part of your CV. It really allows you to sell yourself in that paragraph. I think something that's really, really important of it is not to repeat information that you put in your CV later. A lot of times we'll see that the person will often describe themselves as a graduate from a particular university, or they've done X, Y, Z. And that sort of thing is really, really clear as soon as they glance to the next section of your CV. So you're trying to pull out things that they can't see in your CV. So it needs to be quite punchy. It needs to be only around 2 or 3 sentences. I normally recommend structuring it in the following way. So a first introductory sentence, who you are. A second sentence, what your skill set is. And again, thinking about unique skills or skills that really sell yourself. And then your third sentence of what your next steps are, what you're looking to do. And having 3 sentences really allows you to kind of control it and keep it quite concise as well. We often find that we see CVs that the profile is around half a page long, and it just doesn't make an impact because it's just too lengthy.
Cool. Okay, so now we're going to move on to a quick exercise. So what we want you to do is get into pairs, and if you can talk to your partner and give an overview of your experience and your skills, and then ask your partner to pull out 5 keywords based on your experience and skills in your description, and then read and review your current statement that you come up with. So basically the point of this exercise is to talk to your partner to come up with your skills and experience that you would then transfer onto your CV as your personal profile or statement or whatever you want to call it. So there's 10 of you here, so if you could just turn to the person next to you, so it's these 2 here, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and then you'll have 2 minutes just to give a very quick overview of your experience, and then your partner can pull out the keywords and then discuss it. Is that?
Yeah, that's great. We're here for questions if you want us to give you a hand, and we'll also kind of just be wandering around and helping as and when we needed. And yeah, I think this is a really good way to just describe, and it's really funny how people pull out skills that you might not have identified yourself. So just talk really naturally about what you do and what your roles or previous experience is. And yeah, just give us a shout if you need us. Cool. That says a couple of minutes.
Yeah, but I work in the school as well. Yeah, I mean, like the long. You go first. Okay, yeah. They would put that pressure to So yeah, very
Is it more like from this?
I am super As in, so every night before, I'll plan the next day, let's say, every
Do you want to
night.
So you want to be, if they're not good enough, we have other time to try for them to not be there.
Put it down. I was actually thinking, yes, exactly. Also,
yeah, really, yeah, kind, yeah, broad,
you volunteer for like styles, suggest.
yeah, so you have to, yeah, and also like take, stage 5,
But it's also find out, I think, parents, I guess.
so it's just
Yeah.
obviously like doing research into because you have to go in front of
So I did. Actually, my final year, it was actually, it didn't really exist. And then I worked as, and I guess school organization thinking. That's the kind of yeah. Uni. Yeah, but I can really so I guess I did it really kind of
You've got this is my current statement at the moment.
I guess it's as far as this.
I'm just good. It doesn't say anything about it. about life skills. That's fine. Rather than it's like, initiation, creativity, dynamic workload. Why don't you think of Well, I'm worried that it's like the buzzword. One of us can say like, quite a lot. I mean, it's good, but it has to be solutions I want to go yeah, I initially was planning to do oh no. I think it's slightly like, yeah, I was actually I'm going on the floor. When I came back, I wouldn't want to go to I want to go to like maths
So I'm Rachel. I'm the senior officer in the Class 16, so I like applications, interview workshops. So welcome. What we're doing today is we're just running through and then we kind of do slides that I'm going to do with you at the end if you like. I'm glad you got me eventually, but we've used exercises and I agree. I was actually it's just kind of mentioning before. To make an impact in also stuff like that. So I'll summarise this later on anything new, projects or something that you might not do when you first started. And from there, I'll be on this meeting. What's your skills that you can then implement? So what we'll be doing is we'll be doing that like going garage. So I'm just going to put us all back together. I hope that everyone found that quite useful. So what we're going to be doing next is actually using what we've done then to start writing your personal statement. So just incorporating the feedback from the last exercise and then if you want to kind of show your partner what you've pulled together and to get their thoughts if you like, then you'd be welcome to. But yeah, hopefully you'll just be able to work and put down some ideas from there. Okay, but yeah, we've got about 5 minutes, just a bit over 5 minutes.
How do you structure it? Do you say like I am?
It's up to you. So I would say those kind of 3 sentences are good, kind of the who you are introductory first of all. So a maths teacher working within a challenging school in an area, and then the next sentence of, we've got some examples in a minute actually, you can show you. Example, a kind of a proven track record of raising results and starting new questions. You can do. I don't think it matters a massive amount of difference either way, as long as you're articulating yourself well and the sentence structure and the grammar is correct. Third person, not third person. It's just more of a preference. But yeah, I go with those 3 sentences.
This might sound really, really basic, but do you literally say, I am Gemma?
No, I'd introduce it.
What's your first word?
Yeah, we'll pull some of these actually. This can give you a bit of an idea.
Oh, right.
Reading out, they might be a little bit busy. So we'll pull kind of the bottom one first. I'll read out because it's a bit shorter. So, ambitious and results-driven Teach First ambassador with the experience of managing senior stakeholders, developing strategic partnerships and leading complex projects in challenging environments. So more kind of jumping straight in to about you rather than a very kind of introducing your name and those sorts of details.
And just making sure you're putting out the key skills that you just identified in your discussions and making sure you include those as well.
Yeah, so this person here was kind of referred to their coaching and mentoring with kind of results motivated and challenge driven leader with a passion for enabling social mobility and addressing educational disadvantage, a dedicated and committed learning professional with proven coaching and mentoring experience, comfortable designing and interpreting data sets to inform decisions, a versatile communicator with well-developed stakeholder management skills. So yeah, they talk more about that staff development that they've done. Some of the people have mentioned more around things like organisations, some people projects, some people about, I think, data events. So it's something that might be more unique, something that you've really taken on and taken ownership of. Is really something to refer to there. And we can send some examples of personal statements through to you after today as well, if you wanted a few to look over.
And we can come around, we'll be walking around, we
Yeah,
can help
yeah,
you guys to create one as well. So
Just getting that chair. So the previous slide, actually, I'm not going to do it. It's not going to be exactly the same.
No. I started just writing this office template.
yeah,
And it was just like when I was trying to say it. It just makes it easy to do personal statements.
So what it would be is just sort of not at all like just important conversations.
Yeah,
Like walk you through anything to do with
when you're going for another teacher job,
and I want to be
So where are you teaching? And what is what you teach with a driving professional and what made you choose maths?
and like I do well,
Yeah.
I want to do English, but
And you enjoy maths?
Yeah, no, I do.
for next year,
Okay.
yeah.
And where do you find you have
The rest like exercise,
how they perform
Yeah.
data, letting not stand out to really enjoy the position.
Yeah.
I would enjoy
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's for me, I teach steps are really, really flexibility. Yeah. So they don't really make much progress.
It's just,
They don't have like.
Yeah, no, that's fine, that's not essential. So with your role, if you just describe kind of your key responsibilities that you do in the role.
Ideally, it gives the impression that you're not 100%.
And communicate with parents.
Yeah, just be very specific. That's what you know. You
Okay.
know, then you
Okay, so there is lots of different things there that you said that you do, kind of, like, firstly, dealing with different groups of people, managing different stakeholders, so your groups, parents, stakeholders, colleagues, and stakeholders, your pupils, again, the ability to communicate well with different groups of people and adapt to their level. That's something that you're obviously very good at doing. I would say that the kind of the interest in and the passion for the pupils is something as well that is to bring out in that kind of introductory section of who you are.
It's not challenge driven so much.
I think you have to remember you can tailor these to the role. So if you are applying for an English role as well, you do kind of like with a strong basis of teaching experience, now looking to continue to step into English following passion or interest in the subject. So that way they also understand why you're taking a step from maths to English straight away in that introductory profile. I think we kind of touch that around. Working within intensive programs, because if there's one thing you need to develop, really fantastic designing tools for that. Yeah, so it's this, like this, when you see this first sentence is 1-2 lines long, and kind of mentioning that kind of some currently working through the teacher leadership development program, working within a challenging school, demonstrating resilience, supporting set pupils, ability to, and then that's why what you're communicating for all levels, could be around more around your skill sets, and what you're looking for next would be more around that kind of English or English and maths. And real, again, kind of a commitment to whether it's educational disadvantage or also wanting to highlight over one of those. But yeah, so that kind of hopefully gives it a bit of shape. Yeah. But I'll leave you to think about it. And what I suggested, this is you need to have told to pull that sort of thing out. So I suggested you kind of make your list of what you do, and then you can actually just transfer that into skills. Yeah. And then you can actually feed it in sentences. Yeah. But give me a shout if you wanted to run through it again or. Hello, how are you getting on? Okay.
I'll read the saturation. And this is just an initial kind of getting
Yeah, great. The only thing I would also say is because you're able to tailor it to each role, is think when you're applying for a role, if there's any other skills you can tailor to, and your next steps. Because so now looking at stepping right out of the classroom or into your next position in a challenging role or whatever that might be. So every job, just next steps and then kind of taking it. The only other thing I would also just bear in mind is because the teacher has leadership development program, I would just put it into a little bit more context because it might be that leader hasn't heard. They don't know what it is. So I would kind of even just say that like an intense teaching program that's.
Would it do something like that?
Yeah, or just kind of comma and put the
There's a name, the logical name.
Yeah, I think I suppose it would just be Is it that, why are you looking to be a teacher? Why am I? See, exactly, I think that's a perfectly valid reason to say, like, yeah, exactly. You enjoy the time in the classroom and build up the skills, build up your skills there, and now you can take that next challenge and further your knowledge to, whether that's kind of like work or if you've got a particular sector and you've really got to work in and you can own as well.
So looking for further
Yeah, and to kind of take that next step. Again, if you're looking for people to then take that to a particular role, to a particular type of organisation.
Yeah, fine. This one was for like an education job, like so I kind of put the end here. My experience in
I always would take that to each job, because also it sounds like it's very time consuming, but it's not really. Once you've got that basis of your CV done, it's literally just a case of just checking what are they actually highlighting in that job that they need. I'll just make sure I tweak that skill set, so that's really crucial that as well. I've done that matches it. So it's often you'll find that it was very long, especially when you find something that's different and you're doing it before.
Yeah.
And yeah, how will you get to see? Very well. How did you find pulling out the?
Well, these ones, I got
So I've done it that way.
Okay, so again, I would think about that as if people don't know what each person is.
So these are the same.
I would say kind of the individual who is completed an international training program and is now a qualified
very
teacher in CV, whatever it might be. So just to kind of
and then
so when you say leadership, I don't know, I'm just going to say just previous experience,
a lot of them
new initiatives, and then you can do that by that.
I don't know.
Developing this initiative,
So I think I'm putting it like categories like communication.
Oh, are they?
and then one of them, if you're teaching, and that could be your learning, and really let's continue
Most of my
that
experience
teaching and take that next
Yeah,
step.
like teaching and also
Towards the
my
this is
business job.
being becoming a
Because I haven't really said on here.
leader,
I just said kind of like
developing myself to develop
because
that
that's
further.
I came straight out of university and did. So I haven't. I've got
Other things like
Yeah.
And how far
and being an
I agree with everything that they have, yeah. That's one thing that yeah. So I like my dynamic is like gone all over, yeah.
Final sentence. So, I have a question clearly what you're like. I'm not yeah, exactly. If you have a role in this, so on YouTube, they're not also pushing us straight away. So people can see that someone else on that. So it doesn't stay one bit where you don't feel you have to.
Yeah, I
do that and make it your big powerful at all.
highlight.
And that
Yeah,
literally
it's literally
shows
what
you
I was so happy to stay at my school or
Do you need this level of detail for?
I literally wrote out
So for example, when I was
See, that's the thing, like, yeah. With detail. Where I am now, I don't go to teach, but like this is so I wouldn't get to teaching this. Whereas if I moved, I get to teach.
All of this.
Okay, so I will switch this round. I would have been more
Yeah, I don't think
a person with a real passion, we can't go through like it's empowerment, but also through their creativity, through and through
like one just
I think now, yeah, we just probably focus on this because they're people.
and then
like
I would just switch these down.
really.
Well, I haven't.
Good.
That's why I do
I
that.
don't really, because I'm not really doing it.
So
I don't really know what else to do. You would have
within the
Yeah.
Yeah, and like make sure it's a bit of skeleton.
and then
Yeah. Skills.
yeah, so that's experience. Yeah,
It's just like that was
So,
so good.
yeah, so
Well, these ones, yeah, I guess they've got my.
I'm not from
very around within the classroom with
Yeah.
with the experience.
It's a weird option.
How to
I
bring
think
through
creativity,
more
My dad's got one.
now to grow the organisation.
the general.
Like so Is that all good?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. I like that. Isn't it quite general?
It's not until you say it sometimes, is it? It's not until you to apply
Really loves it.
Yeah. I think that depends on the role as well, like when you're talking about job description, that person's relationship, see what that's just like, that will change.
What's it you write down the
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, right.
Really?
Yeah, I already know. Well, one of the projects is going around there, so we might want to make
really valued in time in the classroom, but now being so diverse.
Yeah, and I think I want to say, but I also want to feel like, I want to have experience working in our sector, so I feel like I will be slightly not over that. And I was like, I know every time that's what I worry about. I worry that I'll say 28 to 9. Yeah, ICT.
But with
Yeah.
my dad
that's been designed, and I was like always was taking a lot of always like so I did it
yes, we don't see now a certain
I have exactly the skills I
So, I hope that everyone found that useful and started to kind of pull together and shape some of their personal statements. So we're just going to run through a bit more of a CV checklist now, the do's and don'ts. So we recommend always including contact details. It sounds really simple, but I have had CVs sent through the forum post. They haven't had an email, an address, or a phone number, so I haven't actually been able to reach them. So put your contact details on. The personal statement we just ran through, education and qualifications, work experience, voluntary experience can be really valuable as well. A lot of organisations regard voluntary experience very highly. So if there's things that you might have included before as in interests, but they're actually voluntary, I would recommend putting a different section. and putting it as a voluntary experience. And then relevant skills are especially useful if there's more unique skills you have, whether that's using IT or particular databases, or again, if you're going into a completely different role, you can really pull out some skills from this position that you want to take into it. Things to exclude are any information that you could be discriminated on or is actually very irrelevant for your application. So that would include age, sex, nationality, marital status, and family responsibilities. Full address, I normally don't recommend having it in there. I think it takes up a lot of space. So I normally recommend just having your name and then email address and contact number below. And it's not information that that reader needs at that time. Interests, again, unless they're related directly to that role or to that organisation, it doesn't matter if you leave interests off, because otherwise if you're adding the generic, I socialise with friends, I go to the cinema, it's not adding anything to your application. So yeah, don't worry about putting them in. And references, again, referees take up a lot of space. They can take up a good kind of quarter, third of a page. So don't worry about including them, but they're really not needed at the moment. So just in terms of formatting, really recommend being consistent. Again, it's something that a lot of people aren't. They have different fonts and all the way through different sizes. It looks really messy and it actually makes it really hard to read quickly. And especially when you're applying for roles, people might spend about 20 seconds on your CV, sometimes maximum. So if it's looking hard, it's looking really hard for them to look through, then straight away it's quite negative. So we put kind of an example of wrong and then right in regards to teach first. Sometimes people put teach first as the employer, whereas it's not, the school would be your employer. And then we recommend putting in referring to teach first, either in that or in your kind of introductory sentence of your role. And just keeping it under 2 pages, so 1 to 2 pages long, and using bullet points as well.
Cool. Right, now we're moving on to another quick exercise. So this exercise is all about you explaining to your partner what your current role is, which we started to touch base on when you all arrived. So if you can just really talk to your partner and describe exactly what your role entails, and then this will support you to figure out and determine what you can transfer across to your CV. And again, we'll be going around supporting you to do that. So yeah, we'll have 3 minutes to do that, and then we'll be moving on.
Like the teacher in year 12.
Yeah. So at the end of the
Yeah, so teacher role. But I just think those are almost skills. They're also your role. Yeah, and your role is What your job is. I thought a role is like I am,
Cool, guys, just make sure we try and stick to time. Just going to bring it back. Hopefully you've identified some key things that you can transfer across to your CV. So we're just going to move on now. So just some pointers here, really, just for you to remember. Did you list all or did you consider all your core responsibilities? Did you mention your key achievements to your partner? Did you mention coaching or mentoring relationships? Did you collaborate with other members of the team? These are all kind of things that you need to be thinking about and making sure that you're included on your CV. And if you didn't mention these in your conversation, then definitely try and pull them out now and make sure you include them. Did you manage other people? Did you analyse data? Did you manage budgets? Did you plan events? Did you meet targets, KPIs? Did you present at meetings to stakeholders? I know you were mentioning earlier, weren't you, about kind of stakeholders and working with a range of different stakeholders, making sure you include all of that kind of information. And don't worry, we will send this round afterwards. So I can see you frantically trying to write everything down. Don't worry, we're going to send everything round afterwards so you can use this and keep it saved somewhere.
Great. Yes. So in regards to your professional experience, just doing a quick how to actually write this onto your CV. So firstly, I'd recommend starting it so you would have your professional experience in that format we recommended about school and what your role and position is, and then doing an opening sentence. So that you're just doing one sentence that puts it into context, what your role is and what the organisation or school is. Again, it also gives you a chance to, with the replacements that you've had, to mention how you've been put into challenging schools, because people reading your CV, they don't know that school, might not be aware of that. So I do an opening sentence. I would then do in bullet points, I would do key responsibilities, so a header of that, and I would do 4 to 6 bullet points of key responsibilities. I would then do a header of key achievements, and then I would do 2 to 4 bullet points of key achievements. Key achievements are really, really important. They really allow you to sell yourself, and also they're the most important because they allow the reader to see what the impact was of what you did. And if you have any sort of data, any stats that you can add into that as well. So kind of the grade might have gone from X% to Y% in a period of this month, or X number of pupils signed up for the trip following what you did. It really, really strengthens your application. So I'd always recommend putting on key achievements. In regards to your kind of tailoring your experience when you're thinking about roles that might be outside of the classroom or going into something that you haven't done before, I'd always think about why you're applying for that particular role, like what in that job post appealed to you. Even if you're not putting that in your CV, it's really good to have that clearly in your mind, because then you'll probably need to articulate it in that cover letter or application form and in interview. So I think about the role description. I would get the role description and I would highlight through it where your skills and experience match it and when they transfer over as well. So you can clearly articulate that either on your CV and pull those skills out, or again later on in that application process. And ensuring that all of the required, all of the essential skills are in your CV. I also think actually if you are transferring to a role and you also hit where the desirable criteria is in that job description, I would always definitely feed that into it. if not in the CV, if you don't have space for some reason, but definitely in that cover letter and in that application. So in regards to transferable skills and reflecting on them, I think that reflecting on kind of the LDP is really good. Like, kind of, what did you learn? What did you achieve? And then you can put that into context as well. I was thinking earlier, it's quite hard sometimes to take that step back and actually think, what does that mean? What does that translate to? So on the next slide, which we can run through in a sec, there's just some examples. And yeah, I think they lead on from these actually.
Yep, should go on to them.
Oh yes, that'd be great. So it is literally kind of teaching experience going into non-teaching experience. We have got lots of these as well if you did want to take them away with you, and we'll send them out afterwards. So things like delivering a lesson is planning and organising. Having new tasks be delivered in a set period of time is managing multiple priorities to conflicting deadlines, working with parents, colleagues, managers and governance, managing stakeholder relationships with diverse groups, tracking pupil data, monitoring and evaluation, analysing pupil data is more of a research analytical skill set, organising a school trip and event organisation, lesson observations, ability to work under pressure, planning new lessons, being creative, being innovative, facilitating learning and development, project management, supporting new NQTs, staff development and staff learning and leadership, delivering lessons, presenting, changing lessons plans with short notice, adaptable, flexible, working in a challenging school, demonstrating resilience, convincing a pupil to engage with the task. A really good one is influencing, and then working with a colleague on a task is collaborating. So it might have been that some of these skills already jumped out at you, you knew you actually did them all, but the likelihood is that you have done every single one of these skills, and these would be how they would transfer, especially into non-teaching roles as well.
And basically recently what we did is we reached out to various of our external stakeholders that Teach First work with very closely, and some of our key partners, and these are the most sought after top 10 skills that they come back with. So ability to work under pressure, adaptable and flexible, I know we talked about that over here, analytical, collaborative, combining the big picture thinking with fine detail, commercial awareness, communication skills, creative and being innovative, and then your leadership skills, and then organisation and prioritisation. So they're the top 10. And again, we'll send that round.
And common mistakes that we see a lot is not tailoring CVs, not tailoring applications to the role. And you actually see a lot of people sending CVs that they've obviously previously sent to a completely different position, like referring to the fact they might want to work internationally and they're applying for a UK-based role. But it really does show a real lack of attention to detail. And I have had previously worked with organisations, and as soon as that profile has said I'd like to work XYZ and it's not matching them, they haven't even interviewed that person, even though they've said their cover letter was fantastic, like they was such a strong applicant, but just due to that they weren't considering them for interview. So it's so important to check for you. If you were tailoring them individually, then check them before you send
it goes in the bin.
matching them. Not mentioning the leadership development program. Lots of people don't mention it on their CV, and it is a really strong selling point. It's known a lot of a really, really intense, a really fantastic program. So I would always mention it. I wouldn't put it like this. I wouldn't put it in acronyms. Like, make sure it is written in the full text. Not proofreading, again, for that attention to detail. Not using relevant examples. Not demonstrating your role and responsibilities and your impact and your achievements. Again, that impact and achievements is so important, because a lot of the times, and this goes all the way through up to and including interview stage, it's that impact and that result is what they're looking for, and what you have done and what result that has come out with. People not putting it in reverse chronological order. It's all about making sure that it's as clear as possible for the reader. And if they're having to look for the information, they're having to pull it out, then again, when they're looking at 20 seconds or 15 seconds, it might just get passed by. That inconsistency in format we referred to earlier, going over that 1 to 2 pages in length, and also having too much text on each role. Again, we see kind of things like someone will put key responsibilities in 20 bullet points, and it's too much. It doesn't read very well. And then using the wrong tense. Well, Yes, so to summarise, hopefully everyone's had a chance to either writing or thinking about how to pull together that really strong profile, and thinking about tailoring it to every role as well. Using that consistent format and demonstrating your experience and your key achievements, and then just understanding your transferable skills. I know we keep saying it, but showing your impact too, such a key thing, and then proofreading. So we have got a little bit more time in the room as well. So if people have brought their CVs with them and they'd like us to have a look over them, then that's great. If people would just like us to have a chat with anyone and run through things like those personal statements and just build them up even more, then we're more than happy to. We have got some evaluation forms, and we also just have some resources. It meant there's one here around the summer projects that are opening later on this month, so please do keep an eye on them. There's some really interesting ones coming out this year, and the transferable skills. On the evaluation forms, as you mentioned, we've been running these workshops for a couple of months now, so we're really, really open to feedback, and it would be really great if people can give us their kind of honest thoughts on it, and we're really open to developing it, so that would be great. And yeah, thank you so much everybody for attending.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
It's different, really.